Reading 108 from the Psychological Commentaries on the Teaching of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky by Dr. Maurice Nicoll, Volume 3. Great Amel House, February 7th, 1948. Commentary on Being. Work idea. The work says that a man is not his size or his strength or position or wealth. It says that a man is his understanding. There are two sides to him in this respect. The side of his knowledge and the side of his being. According to their development, this forms the man's understanding. A man with great knowledge and bad being will understand very little or nothing and misunderstand very much. A man with poor knowledge and good being will again understand little, but he will understand what he knows. Theoretically, full development of knowledge and full development of being will give the fullest possible understanding. Man can have many other things belonging to this subject. Today I will make some commentaries on being. Commentary. In a recent question it was asked, can essence be related to being? Would it be correct to say that essence is the part of our being which can be developed? From a general point of view, the being of a mechanical man is all that he is. That is, his false personality, his imaginary I, his acquired personality with all his different contradictory I's, his attitudes, prejudices, etc., and his undeveloped child essence. In reference to being, many I's or egos. The work, therefore, says that the being of a mechanical man is characterized by multiplicity. He is a many, not a one, but he imagines he is one and the same all the time, and this illusion is produced by imaginary I, which blinds him. This is the state of being of mechanical man. It is not real being. A conscious man has real being. Let us examine the point. In what sense that we can grasp is the being of a conscious man different from that of a mechanical man? In mechanical man, that is, in every one of us as we are, there is an absence of unity. As was just said, the being of a mechanical man, that is, the being of ourselves, is characterized by a multiplicity of different I's. But we do not notice it. We imagine we are a single I. We say, I think, I feel, I wish, and so on, believing that it is the same I all the time that is acting in us. But we are quite mistaken. It is merely imagination. We imagine we have one permanent, unvarying I that acts in us, and from this illusion springs the further illusion that we are unchanging and are conscious of all we think and say and do and feel. Yes, and this imaginary I dwells in the house of false personality, which in turn is built of imagination. This is an absurd yet extremely powerful form of hypnotism acting on us, which sincere, uncritical observation will begin to weaken. If so, we are then beginning to awaken to a small extent, and as a result, our general feeling of ourselves, our feeling of I, and our relationship to ourselves and others will begin to alter. By weakening a fixed idea about ourselves, we have made a little room to change in. But however absurd, this form of hypnotism is so powerful that it is comparatively rare for anyone to awaken from it. People simply will not see that it is true of themselves. They will not awaken from sleep. So they live their lives with the wrong feeling of I. They cannot for a moment grasp that man is kept asleep by different forms of hypnotism for purposes that are of no advantage to him. In any case, they are sure they are awake and fully conscious. As was said, even though they quarrel all day long, the realization that one has many different and contradictory I's, and not one real permanent I, is a step towards awakening. Why? because a man can no longer live in the illusion produced by imaginary I that he is one, a unity, an unvarying, constant, and consistent individual. Reflect, some of you, on how a man can be an angel in public and a devil at home. Would you call that a sign that he has one permanent, real, unvarying, constant, and consistent I? Does it not mean that he has public eyes and domestic eyes, totally contradictory? And he has many other eyes as well. But he imagines he has only one eye, fully conscious, that controls him. Is it not rather ridiculous that even quite intelligent people cannot, or cannot bear to, realize that this I they attribute to their being is entirely imaginary? As I said, it is an absurd illusion, but one of tremendous power, and few ever escape from it. One reason is that it deprives one of one's vanity to no small extent to realize that it is true. But one has to see for oneself. To be told it is infuriating. So the work starts with self-observation. It says in so many words, well, see it for yourself. Observe in yourself that it is so. It is none of my business to show you it is true. You have to see the truth of it for yourself. You are not one, but many. Now we understand that the possibility of attaining unity, of reaching one permanent I, is latent in man, and that man was created as a self-developing organism to attain to real I in himself, and because he has not attained it, he is never at peace within himself, but always uneasy. To attain this secret goal, hidden in him, he must begin a long way off by discarding many illusions, many unreal things, one of which is that he already possesses this I. In the case of this illusion, he must begin to see the stark truth that he is many and not one, and that in a sense there is no such person as himself, but something unreal, made up of a lot of people that use his name, that he takes as himself. Now, we understand that the possibility of attaining unity, of reaching one permanent I, is latent in man, and that man was created as a self-developing organism to attain to real I in himself. And because he has not attained it, he is never at peace within himself, but always uneasy. To attain this secret goal hidden in him, he must begin a long way off by discarding many illusions, many unreal things, one of which is that he already possesses this I. In this case of this illusion, he must begin to see the stark truth that he is many and not one, and that, in a sense, there is no such person as himself, but something unreal, made up of a lot of people that use his name, that he takes as himself. Now, in the case of conscious man, the position is different. The being of conscious man is characterized by unity, by the possession of real I. So his being is quite different from our being. He has real being in comparison to our being. A conscious man, because he has real being, can do. Having unity, having real I, he has one will, and having one will, he can do. In our case, having many different I's in our being, we have not one will, but many wills. Each I has its own will, and each I wills what it wants, and what one I wants is different from what another I wants. Having therefore no real will, because we possess no real I, a mechanical man cannot do. It appears as if he can do, but circumstances and training acting on him make him do as he does. He cannot help doing what he does. It is mechanical. It is only when he tries to go against his mechanicalness that he will begin to realize its enormous strength. In a conversation with Gurdjieff, a question was asked by Ouspensky about what he could do. Gurdjieff said, "You can do nothing. In order to do, a man must be. I have often reflected on this remark, which, like everything Gurdjieff said, is strange, brief, and arresting. In order to do, a man must first be. From all this, you will see that being, in the work sense, seems to refer to developed man. I mean, real being. We have being as we are, but it is confused being, which shifts and alters every moment. Gurdjieff compared the state of mechanical man's being to a glass retort filled with different metallic powders. He said, at every tap, the powders shift. This is what man is like. Every change of life, of circumstances, every event, every situation, every mood, taps the retort, and the powders move. It is then necessary to put a fire under the retort until the metallic powders melt and fuse together and become one. Now, for this to begin to happen, a man, a woman must crave being. Imagining they have real being will not help. In fact, since imagination always can satisfy all our lack, it prevents us, in this case, from seeing that we have no real being. But a sincere and scrupulous self-observation begins to show us that we are nobody, nothing, just a confusion of things inwardly. However, our facade may suggest to others that we are something definite, and even suggest to us that we are something definite. But since real I exists in us, we can touch it under very exceptional conditions. Then we know what it would be like to have real being. As you have heard, sometimes under great and prolonged stress, under danger, under illness, under great fatigue, and other things, a man touches real I in himself. Then everything is changed. Fear leaves him, anxiety leaves him, inner uneasiness leaves him. For the moment he has touched his goal, his whole feeling of I is transformed. He is no longer himself as he was conscious of himself, but another person, an entirely new person. Everything false, unreal, invalid, vanishes. But we, as we are, have to work for long against everything false, unreal, and invented, to reach this state permanently. That is, payment is demanded. Now, one of the first payments in this sense is to realize that you are not one but many. This needs work on oneself. Do you, from this example, begin to see what payment means in the work?